All right, hey, it's Paul from China Cash Buyers. Today I'm going to answer a question that I often get, and it's how to do a business trip to China. Your first business trip to China, or maybe your 10th, There's always something to learn. There's always something you can do better. Business trip to China could be as simple as even a travel. This could also work if you're just traveling to China and you want to see the Great Wall, you want to go and visit relatives in China. Basically, the first thing you want to know is that you don't want to buy anything, okay? So don't waste all your marketing money on some unknown event, okay? So for example, let me contrast this with the way most people operate, is they've never been to China, or they haven't been in many years if they're from China, and then when they go to China, they invest all their money into some kind of event where they're gonna meet people, or they want to show their properties at a big real estate event. I definitely don't recommend that. Okay, the reason why is because it takes a long time to learn what the Chinese people want from you and what you have to offer. So when you go there, you look like a fool. It's usually, in fact, if you look at any real estate event in China, every single year it's completely different exhibitors for real estate. And the reason why is because nobody makes any money. So that's why they have to churn and burn. There's like a new group every time you go, right? I was next to the events. I lived right across the street from one of the main events in Shanghai by the Ritz-Carlton, right across the street, Shanghai Convention Center, Exhibition Center. And so I saw this over and over, and I thought, well, how can I help people not to fail in China, right? So what you want to do is, if you want to, let's say there's an event you want to go to. So you could be raising money for an investment in your aircraft business, or you might be wanting to sell real estate, or you might be looking for development, investment for development, or you might be looking for a partner, a Chinese partner. Okay, what you want to do is you want to go there and see what's going on first. So for example, let's say there's an event that you've been presented with an opportunity to be not an attendee, but to exhibit at this event. They want $10,000, $12,000, $20,000 total for everything. Don't do that, okay? What you want to do is you want to be an attendee the first time. Okay, so you can buy a ticket when you get there. It's very easy to go to any event in China, super easy. Save the $10,000, okay? And when you get to the event, you want to start networking immediately. So you got your WeChat, you got your Chinese WeChat social media, and everybody, as you're going through the event, see what happens is when you're stuck in an event, so say you're presenting, you spent months preparing, you've been making brochures, you've been, hiring translators, you've been, creating like a model of your building. And then when you finally get there, what happens is you're stuck in your little space and you're kind of like a prisoner there waiting for people to come to you, right? And if they don't come to you, you can't do anything. So by contrast, when you go there as an attendee, you can go and meet everybody. So when I go to an event, I take a new person to an event, I'll take them all around, we'll go meet all the people exhibiting, we'll meet all the clients, we'll get everybody on WeChat, we'll have lunch with people, because we're not like having to guard an event, right? We can go and prepare and show people. Everybody that comes to the event is interested in purchasing real estate or investing or whatever type of event it is. So those are the type of people you want to meet, and you want to be able to casually go up to them, talk to them. And you can always rent a meeting room if you want to do a meeting. There's an easy way that you can take people to a restaurant nearby. You can have an e-meeting, it's no problem. But you don't want to be a prisoner stuck in there. And also with this fixed investment that is already gone. It's out of your hands, and you don't even know if it's the right, mix, what these type of investors, what they want. So you really look like a fool. I've seen many people go and they'll spend a ton of money on an exhibition, and then they have the wrong product, and like basically nobody wants it. Nobody at the whole event wants your product. So that's like a total failure, because not only do you not make any money, you lose a lot of money, but you don't learn anything because nobody wants to go to your event. If you go to an event, let's say that you go to an event and you want to buy a electric car, and let's say that all the cars are diesel trucks. Would you even talk to those guys? You wouldn't, right? You're looking for an electric car. So you want to make sure what they want and go in and meet people. Kind of get a feeling for what's going on in this area. Who is there? What kind of people are they? What are they wanting? Are they wanting development properties? Are they like new properties? Do they want American properties? They want Australian properties and New Zealand properties? What is the general mix of this event? And every event's a little different. But when you go there, you'll be able to meet everybody. The people are not necessarily having great respect for somebody exhibiting. They're looking for a certain product. That's it. If I'm looking for an electric car, I don't care that the guy spent $100,000 making a diesel truck exhibition, right? I don't care. I'm looking for an electric car. If I see an opportunity to meet people to get the car that I want or whatever it is, the investment I want, I'm going to go talk to them, right? No problem. Okay, so don't waste all your money without knowing. That's the first thing. The big mistake, and everybody makes it. I've seen so many Chinese Americans go over there, they speak Chinese, they grew up in China, they're confident, they know what's going on. They get to the event, they got the wrong product, they didn't know, and it doesn't work out. And it's a terrible feeling too. It's a really awful feeling, right? Whereas when you go to the event, you meet people, you make a ton of friends, get everybody on WeChat, you have coffee with them. It's all great, right? So you won, and you look good too, because you can present, once you get to know what people want, you can present what they want, right? You can say, oh, you guys are looking for luxury properties. Oh, on this, well, actually I could do that. Tell me more about what you want and when are you coming, and start to set up a meeting for them to come meet you, right? No problem, right? When you have a static structure that's sitting there, it's screaming what it is, right? You want to be more flexible. Okay, first thing. Next thing is, so you want to go as an attendee and you want to set up meetings, as many as you can. So what I like to do, okay, let me tell you what people do. Here's what most people do when they go to China. They'll set up, like for example, they might rent a super expensive restaurant, VIP room, and they'll tell all their Chinese friends, or they'll send out emails, or they'll work a partnership with somebody, and they'll try to get everybody to come to their expensive dinner where they're going to impress people at some feng shui designed, beautiful restaurant with the best shrimp and the best crab and all that, because they really care about Chinese culture and they want to impress people, and they also want to, be generous, and they understand about relationships. Don't do that. Okay. It's not about that. If you do that, if you try to impress people with an expensive dinner, how do you feel if somebody tries to impress you with a steak dinner? Does that make you want to invest with them? No, you kind of distrust them. You think, well, why is this guy spending so much money on me? If he's actually got a good investment, why is he trying to blow me away with this super expensive place, right? Bad idea. There's two things they're doing wrong. One thing is they're arranging a static event on a certain night. It might rain that night. There might be an event that night. There might be an accident that night. Anything could happen that would ruin your whole trip, right? So what I do when I go to a Chinese event, when I take people on a business trip to China, or even when I travel to other cities in China, I will try to contact as many people as I can, and I'll set up meetings near where they are. So I'm going to them. So I'm spending the whole time in Uber, the whole time in a taxi, and I'm just going from meeting to 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 meeting. And I'm not trying to impress anybody. The reason why I don't want to impress anybody is super important. Okay, so for example, I'm going to Mr. Zhang. He works in a certain building in a certain part of Beijing or Shanghai. I go meet him, and I just and I don't really maybe necessarily have a good plan, but he knows the area. He's from the area. So I said, look, where's a good place we can grab a bite? Are you hungry? Let's get some coffee. Let's get some food. Are you hungry? Let's go eat something. Let's go relax. If he wants to meet in his office, it's all good. It's all good. You're not putting too many eggs in the basket. You're meeting him. You're getting to know him, and also you get to see his part of town. You might see pictures on his desk. You might know more about him. You might meet his company people. These are all great things because you get to know more about him. When you take people to an expensive restaurant, you don't really meet much about them. Like they're going to come and they're going to leave, right? When you go to his office, you get a chance to learn about what he's doing. You can see his office. You can see what he offers, right? So you start to know him, and you'll actually have things to talk about with him next time, right? And also, you're not expecting him to be anywhere at a certain time. You're using WeChat. You add him on WeChat. You're saying, hey, how about 4 o'clock? How about 5? Is that good? Okay, 4:30. Okay, I'll be here. I'll be there. Boom, boom. And you go meet him. And then you go to the next meeting. And then you go to the next meeting. And the next meeting. You can meet people in Starbucks. You can meet people in a tea shop. You can meet people in a mall. I've had meetings when there's nothing open at a noodle shop. It doesn't matter. It really is not a big deal. In fact, if you're trying to impress people with the expensive place, generally you're going to attract the kind of person that is not going to, they're looking for a free dinner, okay, right? If you offer free dinners for everybody back home, and then what kind of quality people you're going to get at that event? Everybody wants a free dinner, right? It's not about a free dinner. Wealthy people in China, you're not going to impress them with your dinner. And don't even try. Just try to meet them and impress them with your knowledge, with your willingness to help them, and your open-mindedness, and your willingness to come to China. and maybe willingness to try Chinese food or whatever they want you to do. Your willingness, your openness, your preparedness, your interest in them. That's what's good. And maybe you can say, hey, look, don't make it formal. Say, hey, bring some friends. Let's all go. You guys were gonna go. Let's all go. Let's take the company. Whatever. Don't try to corner them. Just get them alone and like tell them about your properties. Right. This is an event. This is a chance for you to get to meet people, have a bite, learn about Chinese culture, have a laugh. If you drink, a chance to try some Chinese rice wine, have a good time, and then boom, move to the next. And the people will feel it. They're like, this person's acting like a Chinese. They just come over here. We had a good time. Maybe you bring some little gift, like some oranges or something. It's just something small, seasonal or whatever. But you're not trying to blow them away. Got the idea, right? The next thing is you want to add everybody on WeChat. So whenever you meet anybody, add them on WeChat. If you go to the office and the secretary seats you and you're having a good conversation, say, let me add you on WeChat. I'd like to add you on WeChat. And then you never know. Here's the thing about Chinese people. In general, in China, in mainland China, people don't stay at companies as long as they do in Europe or in America or in Australia. There's much shorter periods of time that people are in companies. They switch jobs a lot easier and a lot quicker. So that secretary that you met or that sales guy who was really low level, you come back 4 years later, he could be a president of a company. It happens really, really fast in China. So make friends with a lot of people and don't think that, hey, this big guy is so important. He's the only person. A lot of right now in Australia, the average buyer of new properties, I don't know if it's the average actually, but it's really common, like 26 years old. Super young, super young. Of course, it's usually their family money, not their money. But don't ignore the secretary. Don't ignore the people helping you. Don't ignore the people we meet. Add them all on WeChat. Send them a nice thank you. Do a little selfie together. Send it to them. Tag them on WeChat. Get a good vibe going on. If they're free, go meet them. Don't expect that every meeting is going to turn into a sale. Don't expect that they want to hear about real estate. Just go with an open mind. And you're going to so many meetings so fast that you won't be putting all your eggs in one basket. And you're meeting a lot of people. You'll have a better trip. You'll get to know a lot more people. And afterwards, you have the added benefit of instead of at an event where you didn't meet hardly anybody and you're stuck there like a prisoner, you've met hundreds of people and you've got them all on WeChat. Now you're chatting with everybody. You learned about where they live. You've learned about how their office is and how they work. Maybe even you've been to their house, right? You know more about the city because you've been all over the cities. You can talk about more things. Maybe you even tried some food that you could joke about that you didn't like or was really unusual or something like that. It's always, things like that, right? Those are the things that make an event memorable, right? And that's what makes your meeting is you're being very social, you're being very personable, and you're being very open, right? And you're not pushing. You're not like when you go to an event, you're pushing your properties. Hey, would you like to buy this property? Often they don't want to buy that property. They want something else. They want another country. But if you network with them, so for example, if you meet somebody looking for Australia and you're from New York, would you not be friendly with them? Would that be smart? Because Chinese who move overseas, they have other friends like crazy move overseas, right? It's the same class of people. It's the same kind of people, same business. Maybe they both own factories. Maybe they both own schools. Maybe they both work in the government, right? And they have a lot of things in common. So if they like you, very good chance they'll say, hey, you know what? I got a friend who wants to go to us to New York. Maybe 2 years later, they'll call you and say, hey, I got a friend who wants to go to New York. He's looking, I told him about you. Why don't you guys hook up on WeChat? Boom, lay down sale. You didn't even, and you just did it by being friendly with people, right? So don't try to push your stuff, and you want to listen. You really want to listen. There was recently a scandal in Canada where a lot of the people who were getting Chinese visa or Canadian visas actually they lied that they were in China, that they were in Canada. They were actually in China. They had fake visa stamps. They had fake exit entry visa stamps. They had fake. They were paying taxes and all this kind of stuff. All this crazy stuff was going on. But I think that whole thing started because nobody talked to them and asked them what they wanted. Like we just think we know, right? Hey, everybody else wants a Canadian visa for this reason because they want to live there, clean air. These guys didn't want to live in Canada. Maybe they wanted to, but they couldn't. Their wife, their kids lived in Canada, and they entrepreneur. They couldn't leave their business in China, right? I think that whole scandal started because nobody was listening. Nobody was talking. Like, what do you guys need? Why are you guys coming here? Just talk to people. The Chinese, their needs are very different than other people. It's really true. Mainland China has been a closed communist country. It's opened up. The people's needs are completely different. Sometimes it's just to park cash somewhere for a few years. Maybe somebody bought what was the golf course in LA a couple days ago, and they said basically it's just to park cash for a while, right? So maybe play some golf, park the cash, right? That's something you never see in the U.S., right? People buy golf courses, are serious about golf, right? So you don't know what people want until you present to them and until they trust you, right? So use your trip, and don't make, as a general rule, don't make people come to you. You go to them. Don't try to impress people. Be very, very normal. And that will attract the right type of person who actually wants to buy a property and actually cares about you and wants to work with you, right? You can't make somebody work with you, right? But if you show them who you are, then you can, you win, like the old story of how to get the coat off the old man. The devil said, let's make the wind blow and the rain come down and blow his coat off. And then the other God said, let's brought out the sun, and then he got warm. He wiped his shirt and he took off his jacket, right? So that's the way you want to be. You're bringing the good things. You're being social. You're meeting a lot of people. You're not pushing. Now, when they start to ask, that's when it gets serious. If they start to ask you specifics, you better have those answers. You better be ready with your numbers, right? So you're ready, but you're not pushing it. You're just listening. What do you need? They might want to talk about education. They might want somebody to go to Harvard. It might be totally different than what you think. And the questions you're answering might seem like they're not going to lead to real estate. This is very common with Chinese, is they'll start talking about something completely different and just go with it. It's like, what do you want to do? You want to get into Harvard? Harvard's tough. If you talk to anybody, and usually they know a lot more than you think. So you talk to them, you find out again, how old are their kids? What are they doing? What are they thinking? Who have they talked to? How many times have they been here to Boston before? Have they ever been to Boston before? Do they have any misinformation? Is there something they misunderstand? You want to just listen, and pull that information out of them. And then you can answer and you can be helpful because you actually know what they actually really need. And this is the biggest thing missing. People selling to Chinese is they don't listen. They just push. So don't sign up for an event. Don't spend all your money. Get ready and go over. If you're going to go to China, go and listen and meet as many people as you can. And build that network and have a great trip. And have a good time with them, and go to karaoke, and see the things you wanted to do with your new friends, right? And you'll come home and you'll be like, you'll have a 10 times better time. You'll feel better, and you'll have a ton of new friends, and you'll have the beginnings of a network to sell real estate, to get investment, to get partners and friends from people in China. And that's the ultimate goal. That's what will ultimately make you successful, because you've listened, you're open. It's awesome. It's so different than the sales methods that other people are using, And it's the same thing if you're Chinese. Go with an open mind. China changes really fast. A lot of my friends are Chinese. They've been overseas so long, they left before WeChat. They don't know about social media. They don't really know how things really work in China. So you have to go back and find out what's going on. How's it going? What's shaking? What are people really thinking these days? How are things? Things have changed a lot with WeChat. You can send money. Things are changing so fast, right? And by you just being up to date, maybe you're 60 years old, you've been overseas for 30 years. You go over there and you learn what's going on, and you get on WeChat and you use the latest tools, and you use WeBank to pay for things, and you do some cool new things. And then it's easy to kind of like, you feel good, you learned. Your friends will feel like, hey, this person's open, this person's cool. And they have the expertise overseas. So it works whether you're Chinese or not Chinese. It's just a different issues. So anyway, thanks for watching, and subscribe to the channel down below. Hit the red button if you like this, and go to China Cash Buyers for more information to join our course where we teach you everything you need to know to sell to Chinese investors. All right, thanks for watching.